Hello. Has anyone ever seen a sign like this? The police are asking for anyone who saw or heard anything about a particular incident to come forward as a witness. Now, I wonder what images or thoughts came to your mind when you saw this session was on witnessing. Perhaps they weren't entirely positive or excited thoughts. Perhaps, like me at many points in my Christian life, you actually felt a bit of a failure, worried, unsure, or even condemned that you weren't doing it right. A witness is someone who saw or heard something, and their testimony is what they actually say about this, maybe in court or in a police report. If you witnessed an accident in your street, I am sure you would feel happy and even obliged to come forward and report what you saw or heard. Now, in Acts chapter 1, verse 8, and Luke 24, verse 48, we receive the command and encouragement from Jesus himself when he says, "You will be my witnesses." Interestingly, in both cases, it's mentioned this will happen when the power of the Holy Spirit comes upon you. So why is the discipline of coming forward as a witness for Jesus in the UK so hard? As I thought about this in connection with a witness in a court case, for example, I felt three things might stop them from coming forward. Number one, they didn't really see or hear anything. Perhaps it's a lie. Number two, they don't see the benefit of their testimony to help another. And number three, they're scared for their own life. What I'd like to do is unpack how those three relate to our witness for Jesus. So number one, to be a witness, you've got to know that you did see or hear something. You need to be convinced. What was the truth you saw or heard? What about you? Do you feel that you have seen or heard something in relation to Jesus? Maybe in your own life or another's life, your circumstances or a changed heart or emotions? I think most of us listening would say yes. So then, our faith is not a lie. But are you convinced? In 2 Timothy 1, verse 12, Paul declares he is not ashamed of the gospel. He says, "I know whom I have believed." Do you really know Jesus? If you have never heard Dr. Lockridge's 6.5-minute passionate, spontaneous description of Jesus, go onto YouTube and check it out. It's called That's My King. I'm challenged to know my Jesus so well that you can't stop me talking about him this eloquently. Can I also encourage you to read 2 Corinthians chapter 5, the whole chapter. I love it. This chapter expresses why we have confidence in Jesus, why this leads us to want others to know, what happens when they receive Jesus, and how delightful it is that we have the message of hope to offer others. Now, verse 14 says, Christ's love compels us because we are convinced that one died for all. I was tongue-tied, slightly embarrassed, unconvincing, and unempowered to speak as a witness for Jesus until I had fresh encounters with him. In time periods like Mozambique, where we intentionally and willingly gave space to knowing him more, I became empowered by the Holy Spirit to grow into a convincing, compelling witness who wants to implore others to be reconciled to God. You won't be easily passionate about something you're not convinced of. If you need an encounter with Jesus that will change you from the inside out, then ask him. Seek him. Pray with others. Make space. Listen. He will meet you. And your longing for him draws his heart towards yours. If you have known in convincing encounters with the living God in the past, and yet feel they were a long time ago, or you've forgotten, take time to go back. Don't be ashamed. Ask again. Now, number 2. A witness might not come forward because they don't see the benefit of their testimony to help another. You need to understand today that your testimony does matter. In criminal cases, there are 3 types of witness: eyewitness, expert witness, and character witness. Now, we have all heard amazing testimonies from other Christians who nearly died, saw heaven, visions, dreams, someone like Paul on the road to Damascus. I remember being enthralled by the testimony of Ian McCormick, the jellyfish man, who was bitten 5 times by box jellyfish, died, saw eternity, and was sent back to testify of Jesus. He is literally an eyewitness of God's glory. But after hearing those stories, perhaps you feel, like me, that you don't have an amazing eyewitness type testimony to share with others. So then, well, you sort of don't really bother to say anything, really. Can I encourage you? If you follow Jesus, you do so for a reason. You have seen or heard something that urged you to follow, to yield your life. Be a witness to that. Tell the truth. Think about your story. What helped me most was actually writing it out different ways, different lengths, and practicing it so I knew how I could relate my experiences to others. There are many resources that can help you with this. Now, expert witnesses. They are those whose opinion is allowed in court due to their education, training, skills, and experience. We can feel that professionals like vicars or full-time evangelists are the only expert witness. Some of these may well be, but you know what? We have a great many expert witnesses right here in our church. People who have relied on the faithfulness of God for many years, have studied the Bible lots of times, and have continued trusting Jesus through many changing circumstances. If that is you, witness to what you know. The third category of witness is character witness. This is one we all definitely fall into. A character witness is called upon to testify of the conduct, reputation, and morals of a person. The more you spend time with Jesus, walk through life with him, trust God, read the Bible, and pray, you will know more of his character. For example, when we took our young children to Mozambique and I found the environment was not one I could control for their safety and cleanliness, I found God was holding us. I can now testify to his character, that he is entirely to be trusted. You can be a witness to the character of God. There might be different types of witnesses, but all will be witnesses. Your testimony of who God is matters. The third reason a witness might not come forward is if they are scared for their life. Now, there can be a genuine danger for a witness who has seen a murder, for example, and sometimes witness protection is offered. But did you know there is a heavenly witness protection program? Tom Hamblin and Brother Andrew are 2 of many who are in this program. They have experienced miraculous protection as they've smuggled Bibles. Brother Yun experienced many miracles as the Holy Spirit often hid him from authorities in plain sight. Supresa, a Mozambican leader with Iris, even experienced witness protection from the Holy Spirit when he was literally, physically, and instantly moved out of a dangerous situation where he was preaching the gospel to safety. There are probably millions of stories of God's protection like this from people alive today and those throughout church history. Recently, as a church, we've connected a lot with the work of Open Doors and are having our eyes opened wide to the genuine danger that Christians in countries like Eritrea, Iran, Mozambique, and China face when they choose to follow Jesus. For most of them, the option not to come forward as a witness is not an option. They choose Jesus. They come forward. They are often imprisoned, tortured, or killed. Here in the UK, probably our fear currently for our lives is more about our reputation and friendships. If we come forward as a witness at work or to our friends, will they still like us, accept us, and include us? We fear we will be excluded, disliked, or even downright rejected. In Matthew chapter 10, when Jesus sends his disciples out as witnesses, his speech to them includes what they need to say and do, warnings about being rejected, and encouragement. Verse 28 onwards says this: "Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in hell. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? Yet not one of them will fall to the ground outside your Father's care. Even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. So do not be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. Whoever finds their life will lose it, and whoever loses their life for my sake will find it. Now Jesus is saying he will empower you. It will be worth it. He will protect you. And in choosing to lose in this life, popularity or friends, you will find his abundant life. And perhaps you too will have a story to tell us of divine witness protection. If you are a witness for Jesus, you need to have something to witness to. So can I urge you to make sure your faith is a daily, living, active, trusting thing. Then you will overflow with answers as to why you have hope. Be convinced of Jesus, church. Believe your testimony matters. Trust he will protect you. Bless you all.
But there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only